This was the dream. This was the reality. Ellis Island was gateway and getaway. Millions of American lives began here, or began again here. More than 100 million citizens of the United States can trace their ancestry to an immigrant who landed at Ellis Island.
What brave pioneers they were, what it must have been like for them. I don't think if you've got Ellis Island ancestry, you can go out there and not hear the voices of these people as they arrive to find a new life for themselves.
Since the year 1600, 60 million people have come to the United States. Fully 1/5 of that number, 12 million, came in a little more than 30 years between 1892 and 1924, and they came through the Ellis Island Immigration Station.
Ellis Island is pretty symbolic of the populating of America. It wasn't the only place that people came to, but it was clearly the largest place. It's the site of the largest human migration in the history of the world. It's a very emotional place. When you go there and you think of the millions of people who started their American experience at Ellis Island, it's very dramatic. They account for about 40% of the population of the country today, they or their descendants.
For the immigrants who were processed through Ellis Island, there was only one way to get to America, across the water. And even if the ships were larger and more modern than the Mayflower, the trip was still not a guaranteed pleasure. Classic steerage could mean as many as 2,000 people in the lower parts of the ship. It was third class, and third-class passengers were the only ones who had to come through Ellis Island. But Ellis Island wasn't the first landfall in their new home. The liners berthed at docks on the Jersey shore. Immigrants were then ferried to Ellis Island. If they were lucky, they got off the ferry the same day they got on. Once off the ferry, they stored their belongings in the baggage area and went upstairs to the vast registry room. Clerks took vital statistics, and doctors checked for obvious signs of illness. There were interpreters to help. Intelligence tests were sometimes given. And after 1917, literacy tests. 2% of those who came were sent back, but thousands were temporarily detained, some for medical reasons, some for administrative reasons, some to make sure that they would not be a burden on the public purse. In 1907, Ellis Island's busiest year, more than 1 million people were processed. 195,000 of them were detained. And while they waited, there were people to help them.